product developers and cannabis medicine researchers, all focused on making the most of cannabis normalization. As your host, I do my best to bring you original cannabis industry ideas that will ignite your own entrepreneurial spark and give you actionable information to improve your business strategy and improve your health and the health of cannabis patients everywhere. Today, my guest is Morgan Christine. Morgan is president of the Marijuana Business Association and founder of the MJBA Women's Alliance. A longtime cannabis activist and grower, Morgan also has a successful background in international business, working with clients like Lucasfilm and Corbis, and as vice president of Masters FX, one of Hollywood's leading makeup and creative effects studios. Welcome, Morgan.
Welcome. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So Morgan, as co-founder of the first truly functional national cannabis trade organization, you saw a need for something more specific for women and went ahead and formed the MJBA Women's Alliance within the existing organization. What did you see that called for a specific women's alliance?
Oh, it was pretty powerful. I've met so many women in the industry, and I started hanging out and doing business with women. And we decided that if we're going to get together, we might as well be talking about business since we are all there together. But when women get together and they start talking about their business, it's a totally different passion. The level of enthusiasm and just the camaraderie that we have when we get together is just incredibly powerful. So I got together with a couple other ladies in the industry and said, let's really do this. And so in May of 2014, we launched our first event, which was called a Power Luncheon.
I would think that it would also serve your interest as well to kind of come together as a power block, because, you know, technically you could get together at the regular trade organization meetings and chat, but by pulling yourselves together, you blend your powers to be able to take care of the things that you want to.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, you think about one powerful woman is a fierce force to be reckoned with, but you put 50 to 100 women into this same room talking about cannabis, it just will blow your mind. And we don't have anything against men. I mean, we all love and appreciate men. So many of the guys in the industry have taught us so much, but we can talk about issues without you there that will actually feel like we've been validated, we've been heard, and then that pushes us forward to more success. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I'd love to hear a couple examples of the different topics that you handle differently when you're together.
Well, as you probably know, sexism is huge in the cannabis industry. It's huge everywhere, actually. But when we're talking about a brand new industry and we talk about sexism, and when we talk about, for example, you know, vape pens or dab rigs, and then you put them in combinations with half-naked women, we're sending the wrong message. And so we can talk about that openly when we get together about what we want to do going forward. We don't think it's necessary, and we don't think we need to actually, you know, we can do a better job. You know, we can do this whole new industry without having to sexualize women. That's just one example of some of the things that we do together. You know, it's just so much easier to talk about when the guys aren't around.
So we all know that the Prohibition era marijuana business was pretty male dominated, but now with normalization, we're not only seeing that women are starting and running these hugely successful companies and organizations, but, you know, I dare say that the industry is starting to become dominated by women. Why do you think that the women are gaining so much more influence in the post-legalization back during Prohibition?
Cannabis that we cultivate marijuana from is a female plant. I think right there in and of itself, it's a license to run with it. The businesses that are coming up are all women who've been in the industry, or maybe they've just been tired of working for the man and they want to start their own thing. And it's like, why not this industry? We're your growers, we're your patients, we're your educators, we purchase more marijuana than anybody else. And so it's like, why wouldn't we just start taking over the industry? Why wouldn't we step up and come out of the closets and say, I run a business, I want a network, I want community, and I want opportunity to provide for my family, just like any man wants to do. But now is the time because it's never been done before.
Totally hear what you're saying, Morgan, especially the part about the community. Here where I live on Vashon Island, we've got a few recreational cannabis growers, and the biggest are all owned and operated by women. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the meetings of the trade organization here on the island are so much more warm and communicative now, because, you know, the mostly male dominated prohibition growers, they are very concerned for their secrets, and it's very competitive, and it's kind of got a guy vibe to it. But now that the companies that are more influential are owned by women, it just seems to be a more warm and inviting and sharing of information environment, and I really think that's better for everybody, both the businesses and the patients.
I totally agree. I really commend any organization or club or committee that gets together to talk about cannabis. I mean, there are so many wonderful ones. I started out with Women of Weed. Ah Warner and Sean Denade started this fantastic organization for women to get together just to imbibe and to share and to feel. But we didn't really talk about business. We really kept it light and friendly and warm. And so I joined Normal Women of Washington with Danica Noble. And I thought I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is incredible. And it wasn't too much longer when I said, okay, it's only a natural fit for me to slide from the Marijuana Business Association as a whole into bringing women together on a regular basis.
I would suspect that when given the opportunity to get together as professional business women, that you are just attracting interest in droves by women who are like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that there's finally an organization for me, specifically within an industry that they're passionate about as healers and cannabis makers and processors.
You bet. And so many men too, like, please take my wife, please. Yeah. They're like, I want her to get into this industry and I want her to understand what I do. And I'm like, absolutely, bring her on in. So at the Women's Alliance, when we have our gatherings, it's usually an evening or perhaps a luncheon where we'll talk about business for the first 50 minutes. And that might just be business plans, vision statements, creating our logos or whatever that may be. And then the second half of the programming may be dedicated to just specific cannabis industry related topics. Students for Sensible Drug Policy come out. We've had law enforcement against prohibition. Women in these industries that are helping us, on a local level here in Washington. We're also in Colorado and in Portland.
That's an interesting idea too, the cross industry contacts as well. I would think that, very often in male dominated arenas, we tend to want to overspeak women and we just get louder as our communication tactic. And I would think that there's a lot of really creative ideas that come out from not just people who have got introverted communication styles, but just women without needing to worry about being talked over the top by a guy.
It's so true. I can't tell you how many times in a business meeting I was cut off or, somebody's back was turned to me. I've had sexist remarks made at me and I've had inappropriate touching. And I'm like, but I've had this before. It's not just cannabis. I mean, it's just, we need to educate men. You seem like you're very enlightened. Where are the more guys need to be like you? We need to understand that this is a team. We can move this industry along together, but we need the support. And I really believe that if women start getting involved locally in politics, locally in healthcare, growers and producers, and in the retail women. Have you seen how many women are coming out strong in the retail end of it? It's
all over the place.
Yeah. And it's like more women just need to get together and start talking about what they want to do and dream big, dream it. And I just couldn't be happier with the women that are really making this happen in Washington and all over the world, actually.
Well, it's a good thing that it is. We're going to take a short break and be right back. You are listening to the Ganjapreneur.com podcast.
After a short message from the sponsors who made this show possible, Ganjapreneur will return.
Your connection to quality cannabis insurance services is spelled K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R. That's Karcher Insurance. We have worked with ventures like cannabis for over 60 years. We're proud to represent over 50 companies with tailor-made cannabis plans for owners just like you to insure your product, your plants, and your pursuits. K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R spells out their full-service insurance services ranging from commercial to bonds, to personal, from life to health, and more. Contact the team at KarcherInsurance.com and let our experience work for you. That's K-A-E-R-C-H-E-R Insurance.com.
Contact Karen and the team at Karcher Insurance at 1-844-421-3560. That's 844-421-3560.
Ganjapreneur.com, your guide to the cannabis business world. Ganjapreneur.com is a comprehensive resource for cannabis professionals and entrepreneurs. Download the Ganjapreneur app on your smartphone or tablet to catch up on cannabis industry news, scroll through our daily job listings, and learn about successful cannabis companies, executives, and investors. Ganjapreneur.com, helping Ganjapreneurs grow.
InternetMarketingNinjas.com is the online dojo of the highly trained and skilled Internet Marketing Ninjas. Disavow documents, reconsideration requests, panda and paywin penalties. Let our superior SEO ninjas confront all of your link-related issues. The Internet Marketing Ninjas are equipped to master any marketing exercise, content creation, authorship, link building, PPC, and more. Plus, build more buzz for your brand with our social media marketing strategy. Discover all that the Internet Marketing Ninjas can do for you. Visit the online dojo now at InternetMarketingNinjas.com.
We're back to help Ganjapreneurs grow. You're listening to Ganjapreneur, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Ganjapreneur.com podcast. I am your host, Shango Los, and our guest this week is Morgan Christine of the MJBA Women's Alliance. So, Morgan, before the break, we were talking about how so often in cannabis advertising, we get these images that are overly sexualized and how, many of us really do not want the industry to go that way. However, it seems that as the industry gets bigger, we are continually introducing new players that still have not been hip to, that we want to advertise in a more mature way. And so we're constantly having to educate folks. What's the experience that you and the Women's Alliance have had with coming into contact with folks who are using hypersexualized images? And how do you communicate with them about considering something different?
Well, we've handled it on a couple different levels. We've discussed this at some of our meetings. There's a hashtag going around. It's called not buying it. And anytime you see a cannabis product that's been over-sexualized with men or women, in either way, I've seen men half naked with hemp, on their junk. And it's like, I'm not cool with that either. Sexualization in any form, it really has no place. But I understand that we want to be pretty when we sell stuff. We want to look good. Nobody's going to buy an ounce from, some slob, but they're more likely from somebody who's a little more attractive. So finding that line is really important. But when it's over-sexualized because it's in your gut. It gives you that feeling of like, well, that's kind of wrong. So I'm all for talking to men about it. I've done this at CannaCon. There's been vendors who have had, huge signs with half-naked women, and it's just a matter of letting them know, hey, I'm a consumer. I'm one of your customers, and I'm not happy with that. I'm offended, and I'm not going to buy your products, and I'm going to make sure that other women know about you as well. And that's just one way. We don't want to be mean. We don't want it because I really just think that some men just don't know. They don't know any other way because it's been ingrained in their psyches for so long. I'm saying save that sexualization for the woman you go home to at night. You don't need it in your cannabis purchase price.
So Morgan, how likely is it that we're going to be able to eradicate this kind of imagery from the industry when it exists in all the other industries? Now, I obviously understand that we want to minimize it as much as possible, but what do you see as the goal here? Is the goal to clean up cannabis at its very outset so the trajectory is better? Or do you see it more as, try to take care of every instant as it comes? How will you know if you're succeeding?
Well, I think we're at a good point because now major media is starting to pick us up. I was in National Geographic last summer. Go-Go Lids just did a fantastic piece in Newsweek. And of course, now Forbes is on the bandwagon. I think if we can get some major media people to understand that women in business and in cannabis is coming on. And we may not be able to solve it right away. These movements take a lot of time and it's going to be slow, but we have to tackle it both, on the small side and not purchasing products that are offensive, educating people about what it really is all about. Is it necessary? And then taking action, let them know. Hashtag it, not buying it, put a sticker on it. This over-sexualizes women. This perpetuates. The more they keep putting those ads up, it perpetuates that women should be sexual objects. And it's not cool. I mean, it's so lame, and it's even worse. I mean, it's like, are men really that dumb? You really have to be fed, this kind of ad?